Welcome to Stitches of Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix Archivist, and I spent the last 12 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Mandy, and I really got nothing for this one. I gotta be honest, I try really hard. That's 90% of what I stress about when it comes to this show, is trying to come up. My one job is just to have a relatable thing to say. And I want to do a little nod and a little preview of each episode that we're watching and just give you something related to what we're saying so that like people who know, they'll like catch of like, oh, she's making a joke about this, or she's making I watched some rocks fly in space. It's not even the first time that we've seen asteroids. I have nothing for you. I already did my asteroids joke. There's not that many of them. It is hard to relate to big rock in space.
I really did pick the best t-shirt for this episode then, huh?
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
Just take my job. You don't even like the podcast. You're doing a better job than me.
And if you haven't guessed yet, we are once again joined by our favorite nemesis, Ben Paddon.
And I'm Ben, and this episode was directed by every time I've been angry at my players in Dungeons & Dragons and have threatened to kill them with big rocks.
Okay, I'll just go now.
Yeah, but Ben Splain doesn't really have much of a good ring to it. I like Mandy Splaining, so
yeah. Sorry,
you're stuck here, Mandy, whether either of us like it or not.
You're not stuck in here with us. We're stuck in here with you.
So speaking of being stuck in places, we're watching a clip from Class, the Class episode Detained. The episode.
It's a good episode. I mean, they're all good episodes. Class it doesn't miss for 8 episodes in a row.
It's a really good show.
I've seen one episode of Class. It was not this one.
Oh, you watched the one with the Capaldi in.
I don't have enough memory of the one that I watched to know whether it was this one. It could have been.
Yeah, this is a 19-second clip of asteroids flying through space.
I feel like there was someone briefly talked in it, but I could not hear them, and I thought maybe I made it up. And I'm sure like a smart person would have rewound, but it's really hard to go back on a 19-second clip that doesn't involve you just watching the same 19 seconds. And and maybe this is a bad review of this episode, that it's like, oh, it's 19 seconds, and I would not like to do that again.
Well, I would like to add, this is, I think, at least 2 clips fused together, because I'm pretty sure that there's I also heard the VO.
I think it's 3 or 4, actually.
Yeah, and so this is a chunk of sequences of asteroids in space that Becca's...
How much editing did you have to do for these asteroids?
Well, because it's intercut with the action of the rest of the beginning of the episode, and so sometimes they do like an L cut or a J cut, as we say in filmmaking terms, where
you uncut them, you un-L'd the cut, and you put them back together.
Well, I didn't un-L them because you did hear a portion of somebody saying a line. Because I just go by what's on screen. I'm not doing audio editing on this.
Could you do a reverse L cut so that the audio that overlaps here actually overlaps the end of the clip that precedes the...
That would be amazing.
Are those cuts, is that what it's called when like the people are talking in one clip and then it cuts to another clip, but you hear the end of them talking?
Yeah, because on a editing timeline, the video track is on the top and the audio track is on the bottom. So if the audio track comes first, it kind of looks like the letter J. If the audio clip extends past the end of the video clip, then it kind of looks like a letter L.
My mother hated L cuts and J cuts. In the last, I want to say 15 years of her life, her vision started to go. She had difficulty watching the TV. She would watch with audio assistance on. And she hated L cuts and J cuts, specifically because she found it confusing that when people were talking, it didn't match what was happening on the screen. She found it messy in a way that made it difficult for her to pass those transitions from one scene to the next.
She was parsing that stuff and wasn't parsing the the visual shorthand of film and TV of we're going to talk about this thing and then cut to something that is like, and that statement is a commentary on what we are seeing in the next scene.
Or it's just an editor being a jammy bastard. We've not really discussed the actual thing we're here to discuss yet.
True.
We've mentioned class and rocks, and
There's
that is
some rocks. I was just taking a long time. I mean, I knew that this was a long, arduous process. Like, this whole project is big, but that really just kind of broke down how much you had to do, Becca.
Oh, yes.
This is 19, like, in the show itself, these 19 seconds, how long is that in the episode?
It's spread out over a couple of minutes, isn't it? At least 90 seconds.
So you're having to edit a couple of minutes just to get these little 19 seconds, and I can't even watch the 19 seconds.
Point of order, I do have the show on Blu-ray. It's also the only Doctor Who related thing that the Game of Rassilon member Cho Kate Lei, who also works with us on Good Chaotic, and is also, fun fact, a friend. I don't know why I said we work together. I know her. She's a friend from work. When we finished the game of, well, not when we finished the Game of Rassilon, but like after season 3 or season 4, I decided to give her Class on Blu-ray because I thought it'd be funny if that was the only Doctor Who related thing she'd ever seen.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did she ever end up watching Shooty?
She did start watching Shooty, yes.
Oh, good. I was actually talking to Riley and Dan recently, and about maybe having her as a guest on the podcast, which I would love, but I have never met or spoken to her or interacted with her in any way.
She's great.
That's the vibe I get.
So I want to take a stab at describing what happens in this 19 seconds, just so listeners aren't entirely lost.
Sure, go for
it. How many episodes in this podcast they are lost.
This is episode 25.
They are lost, Benjamin.
So, big rock, whiz through space, past camera, towards space vagina. That's it. That's the whole thing.
The Castrovulva.
More like Clastrovulva, am I right?
Prison.
I mean, are you implying, because we have not, in fairness, we know of the Castrovulva.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about, like, the Master escaped the Castrovulva, but we have not seen it. So if you're saying they're flying into a big space vagina, that would imply that the Castrovulva is there. To be clear, it is separate from the space vagina because the space vagina is the internal structure of that area, and the vulva is the exterior portion of that particular anatomy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. My turn to ask a question. Do we think these asteroids are the same rocks that whiz past the credits during the end credits of the Sylvester McCoy era?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's canon now.
Canon now. That's canon.
I'll email Russell T Davies and make sure that he explicitly references it in what I guess will be season 3.
Which is also interesting because canonically these rocks are probably the most interesting rocks that we're going to see flying through space because they're actually prisons.
Yes. How long till we find out what is imprisoned within them?
Oh.
Love that reaction.
I don't even want to know.
Oh, you have to get through all of Pertwee, basically.
We have to get through all of history, all of Pertwee, we basically have to get to, like, we basically have to get to Capaldi, which means we also have to get through all of Torchwood and Sarah Jane.
Oh, wow. So it's going to be a few years
It's
before you
gonna
find
be
out
a
what's in these
while.
rocks.
Going to be
Yeah.
a different Mandy when we find out.
I imagine us just cutting to that moment, and you're just like wearing like a Rambo, like, you know, just like scar across your eye, like just like really thick, like 5 o'clock shadow, like just smoking a cigars.
I really thought that you were
some
going to say
shit.
really thick neck.
That too. You've been like,
I've been
You've
working
just seen
out,
some
but
shit.
just this portion. I've been taking a lot of steroids.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. I've been.
I get that, like, guy growing, like, looks like they're in a person mech suit kind of build that guys on steroids get.
I've been watching Reboot recently. I don't know
wow.
if either of you.
I'm very familiar with
Reboot.
Reboot. My dad loved Reboot, but only because he was fascinated by computer animation.
Yeah, it's cool. And then there's like one moment in the middle of a season where they're just like, "Hey, our little kid character that is sort of our audience surrogate. We're just gonna, in between episodes, age him up to be this like jaded adult, like badass."
Yeah.
With like an automatic
choice.
gun and like a hot mermaid girlfriend, and
So it becomes a Call of Duty player.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm imagining the Mandy is by the time we get to talking about Class in general, because I think this is also like, this might be the last clip of Class we get before like the present day era. No, that's not true. I'm sorry. But spoilers.
So with that in mind, that like the rest of this episode is in the distant future. So this asteroid, like in the Stitches in Time edit, are we expecting that this asteroid is actually just, it will still be traveling in the time and it will be like pretty much the same as when they end up talking about it? Or did this also go through a separate time portal?
This one, I think the space vagina is the time portal. So it's
okay.
Yeah, because basically the plot of Class, for those who have not familiarized themselves,
for those that are your co-host, Mandy.
Yeah, but also I feel like a lot of people didn't watch Class, and I recommend it. It's good.
It's British Buffy the Vampire Slayer that just happens to be set in the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah, it's basically, it's Torchwood in high school. Like that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Torchwood teens!
Teen Torchwood!
I prefer Teen Torchwood Go.
I haven't watched any of that.
Have you seen Teen Torchwood go to the movies? It's really good.
The plot of Class is that there are like space vaginas opening up in this school like at random times, and things are coming out of the vaginas.
Was this also written by Chris Chibnall?
No.
No,
Are you sure?
Yes.
it was written by Patrick Ness.
Famed young adult author who also wrote A Monster Calls, I believe the book is called.
Just famed young adult, period.
A famous young adult. He's
30 under 30, media luminary.
he's the Doogie Howser of Doctor Who.
I think that's
Matthew Waterhouse.
no, there was some, I mean, yes.
Oh, it's whoever wrote Time Lash, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like 19?
Yeah, Andrew someone, not Cartmel, but
Not
I think
Cartmel.
I think it was
Andrew Time Lash.
Andrew, I'm looking it up. Glenn McCoy. That's not an Andrew.
That's
Fuck
as
that
far
guy.
from Andrew as you can get.
Peter Capaldi comes and helps out for the pilot and is like, "Hey, I can't be here all the time because I'm grumpy and Scottish. So, how about I leave the fate of the universe to you, teenagers? Sound good? Okay, bye."
Yeah, he finds 5 teenagers with attitude and gives them nothing. Oh no, he does give one of them a robot leg.
True.
Yeah, well, if I know anything about Peter Capaldi, the not 12th Doctor. Becca, please remind me what the proper number Doctor it apparently is. A bit that we will definitely continue after Ben stops being his guest on this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just have the numbers handy on a spreadsheet already.
I should legitimately do that. I'm gonna start writing that down right now.
Printed off, and I'll just tape it to my monitor. He seems like, I was originally going to say that he's most likely to endanger a child. I don't think of the doctors, I don't think that he's most likely to endanger a child. That's obviously Peter Davidson. But Peter Capaldi is most likely to enjoy endangering a child.
Ooh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, he literally does. He's like, hey, you know these time and space portals? You know, I once spent an entire lifetime protecting a town called Christmas on the planet Trenzalore from basically exactly this. Well,
I already did that. It's your turn now.
I'm not doing that again.
Just do that. It's easy. Just do what I did.
Just do what I did. It's fine. Well, I got very, very old.
Get good, idiot.
The 8th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. Sorry.
Yeah, that's actually, here's a fun fact that ties into that. Peter Capaldi was asked to audition for the role of the 8th Doctor in the TV movie, and he turned it down. The reason being that he's a huge Doctor Who fan, and he didn't want to be part of a cattle call of auditions that ultimately he didn't think he would get the part because he wasn't experienced enough.
Wow.
He was also, a couple of years prior, on the shortlist for candidates to play Captain Benjamin Sisko on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I mean, I'm glad he's not, because Benjamin Sisko, like, I would not want to lose what
Avery
we had
Brooks
there.
was phenomenal, yeah.
But that would definitely be a ride. I would love to see Peter Capaldi next to a Ferengi. I just want him to hang out.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That's my fan fiction. I'm going to go home and write that. Actually,
Peter Capaldi as Odo would have been very, very good.
Capaldi definitely does sound like if the Ferengi had like a twin planet, the other civilization, they're the Capaldi. It's the Capaldi and the Ferengi.
Yeah. Good shit. We've got nothing to... It's just rocks in space. There's nothing to talk about.
It's a prison with the consciousness...
But we don't know that yet, because it's just rocks!
Okay, but again, we know, like, Becca has very graciously talked a little about, like, J cuts and L cuts, and we kind of, like, the idea of editing is a language. Editing is a story, and so this doesn't seem important. It might be something that will be important, and so we have to think about knowing what we've seen previously, taking that information, because we don't want to be those people in the movie theater who are stopping every 5 minutes and be like, "Wait, I don't understand. I don't get that
who's
part."
that? Who's he? Oh, he was the
Rock?
same one from before.
Yeah. And so, like, do I think this is the same rocks as before? I don't think the same rocks as before. I think that we have kind of, like, those rocks were just kind of in that point. We've had millions of years.
Here's the thing I love. When these rocks finally make their appearance in the show proper, all of our lives would have changed so much that we would be unrecognizable to ourselves and to the listening audience. But we would have forgotten this conversation. This interaction about these rocks will be lost to time.
Maybe not. Maybe it'll come, like, maybe this is the bit and it'll stick with me. I'm saying that we gotta keep it in our heads. We gotta keep it in our heads. And
this is, and I've said this before on the podcast, like, we're still, like, early days. We're just, like, setting up plot threads.
Yeah, we know
it's all
that
foreshadowing.
The 4th Doctor just set up that little his little life alert. So, I mean, maybe it's something with there where the rocks are going to hit him. Maybe it's something like we're going to follow Perry and the Doctor in the memory TARDIS. Like, maybe this is part of their pit trap. Like, they got to get a bigger pit, and what's bigger than a space vagina?
Right.
That's a big pit to trap people's memories.
It's hard to feel bad about, like, how much time is gonna be between the space rocks when the biggest movie at the box office right now is a sequel to a movie that came out 40 years ago.
Christ, it did come out 40 years ago, didn't it? Jesus.
wasn't because we also had the power of the Doctor clip, and
Mhm.
like when Yaz left the Doctor, like that was on a big rock, and you were talking about this is a prison rock, so maybe that's the prison rock and it was hanging out on, and then they're going.
Mm.
But instead, you would expect in maybe like a simpler, more like straightforward show that
Right.
we would, when Yaz and the Master Doctor left the big rock, they would have we would have followed their journey. But
Mhm.
like Doctor Who is all about zagging when they should zig, so instead we followed the rocks.
All big rocks in space are prisons, because we saw that in uh very early on with the Grand Serpent. Uh
We did.
yeah.
Maybe those are the two rocks, and like again, we thought that we might be following the journey of those people, of like the Grand Serpent and the
Mhm.
Master and Yaz, but actually we're gonna follow those rocks.
Yeah.
We're just gonna see where those rocks go. And apparently they're going. Y'all are telling me they're going somewhere, so it seems right that we should follow these rocks.
They're going into the space vagina.
Obviously, the next clip we see is going to follow these rocks directly.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they going to go out of the space vagina, or are they just going deeper in? Or is that kind of like an in out situation?
I hope they go in and out and in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
Let's not undercut the possibility of some like external stimulation for the space vagina.
The Castrovalva.
Yes.
Right.
Are you? Oh, I have to ask this, Mandy, because you've been doing this podcast for considerably more episodes than I have. Are you keeping track of all of these like plot threads so that you can follow them as the show develops over the course of
Ben,
human
I
history?
don't think that Mandy would be on this podcast unless she was taking copious notes about every single plot thread that we have theorized or anything.
Ben, we live together, so you should know the big board that I have immediately off camera that's just covered in little
Oh
notes with
yes.
strings on them.
Oh yes, your Pepe Sylvia board. Yes, of course. My
Yeah.
apologies.
We have so many. We have River Song was a fish. River Song was a fish.
Is that why
and got killed by Bigfoot?
It's
got,
messed up.
It just says it's Castrovalva, who is Bigfoot.
The thing that's messed up is before we got that board, you just wrote Castrovalva question mark on the wall with Sharpie.
Yeah, that's
I tried
actually
to get it out. That's not coming out.
That's why Mandy asked me to do this podcast. She was like, "Hey, can you
I'm waking up in the night screaming, Castrovalva, can you help me?
Can you help me?"
And I was like, that, please?
"Sure, I will. But first, let me spend 12 years editing Doctor Who into chronological order."
Yes, your oldest and dearest friend, Mandy. So
Yeah.
I actually have a fun question for you for this farcical exercise of a podcast. How many episodes of this podcast do you think there will be? Assuming you get to talk about every clip, how many episodes? I want you to know the endeavor. Like, when Mandy and I talk about The Nanny, we know that there's a finite number of episodes of The Nanny. We know we will someday, when the podcast comes out of hiatus, reach the end of The Nanny.
So what you're saying is that there is going to be a point at which, if Becca and I ever want to be free of this, we're going to have to kill Doctor Who. We personally have to make sure that the show gets canceled in such a way that it can never ever be brought back, or else our souls could not be free.
Becca's seen a number.
No, I have not. But you know what? This is a great question that I will research for next time because, yeah. Because the other thing is there is still new Doctor Who, so whenever, because we will have to insert things, maybe even, who knows, maybe by the time this year's Christmas special comes out, we will already be beyond something. I don't know. But that is going to happen at some point, and it's going to be especially bad if we ever get to the point where we are caught up to the show in terms of like we are talking about things that happen in the year that we're talking about them. Like that's going to be really bad because then if they ever go to the past,
really the way that this show ends is that we talk about something in like the distant future, and then we get to that when the distant future becomes the present.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's gonna be it. Here's what I want. I want us to end this show in the year 2050, because that is the year that K9, the Australian series, takes place.
Oh no.
I want to.
We want to get to that point.
Yeah. I am going to actually research a number and put it on the next episode of this podcast.
I need you to text me what that number is.
Oh, I will.
I would love it if like you were listing all the ones as like episode 1 out of this many, and then also having to watch that number change. Episode 1 out of 90,874. Next week, episode 2 of 9,897.
Well, the thing that I love is that there will inevitably come a point where if someone's going through the feed for the first time, they will see episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5, episode 812, episode 6, episode 7, episode 8.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream.
Yeah. That's the dream? That? Becca.
Becca, please dream bigger for yourself.
Or if not, at least dream better.
I've got some dreams. The folks at home will hear about my dreams when
you die.
I'm gonna put all my dreams on the last episode of this podcast.
And then die.
I dream never to have to make a Doctor Who podcast. Oh no.
Hey Becca, I love doing this podcast. I hope we do it for a very long time. I hope that you don't die immediately after we do the podcast. I hope you keep going after that.
It's the only thing that sustains me, Mandy.
Do you have a till death do us blot style system in place where if one of you dies, there is a replacement? Because I think, Becca, you got the harder job, because you have to find someone to not only be the lead of the podcast and the head of this project, but to sustain the edit.
Ben, what do you think us having all these guests has been for? We're auditioning.
Yeah. I mean, I do fully expect that, and I hope truly that Doctor Who continues long after I am gone. So
I hope Doctor Who dies with me.
That's what I hope.
But yeah, so at some point, I don't know. I may need a successor. I should get my will together. Figure that out.
Oh no, don't ask Will.
This episode is sponsored by Bucky's Wills.
By LegalZoom?
Not legally compliant.
Find us online at geocities.com/buckys_wills_website_2017
Dot JPEG. No, dot WBP.
I would love to have an email address that ends with .jpeg instead of .com.
I'm also struck by this is so far back in history. Like what kind of creatures are they imprisoning? What is crimes in 14 million BC?
Well, they are alien crimes because they're aliens, probably. Yep. Unless they're dinosaurs. Maybe some of them were rescued before Adric crashed that ship into Earth. But then they did crimes and had to be imprisoned.
Dino crimes.
Their crime was not being killed by that asteroid. That was Adric. That Adricaroid.
Yeah.
What was that buddy cop movie Whoopi Goldberg did where her partner was a cartoon dinosaur?
Is that a real movie?
I don't know.
I'm going to Google.
What is that, Benjamin?
Whoopi Goldberg dinosaur Theodore Rex. That's what it was called. Came out in 1995. She did not want to be in it.
Sounds incredible. Oh.
Hey, you said it was a cartoon? No,
no,
this is a puppet?
It was like a full-on like puppet thing. It was intended to get a theatrical release. It ended up going straight to video, and it was at the time the most expensive straight to video movie ever made.
Wow.
With a budget of $33.5 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So where does that fit in the timeline?
1995.
Oh yes, my mistake, sorry.
Is it? Yeah, wait. It depends on where is the dinosaur in dinosaur times? Are they solving crimes in dinosaur times?
It's people crimes.
Okay.
People times with people crimes.
If they were solving dinosaur crimes in dinosaur times, I would insist that movie be called Dinosaur Crimes in Dinosaur Times. Yes. Well, I'm very excited to watch Class again.
It's good.
When we get to it.
In 27 years.
27 years.
What is a spin-off? Because Class holds the distinction of being the first proper spin-off to appear in Stitches in Time.
That is true.
What are we defining as a proper spin-off? Because haven't we had like web things?
We've had the Infinite Quest, which was the animated thing, but that's still like Doctor Who. It wasn't like a spin-off.
It has the DVD release, which edits it into one episode, has the Doctor Who title sequence.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a different show.
Yeah.
Wasn't there totally Doctor Who, or is that what we're talking about?
That is the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The Infinite Quest originally aired in 13 3-minute chunks as part of Totally Doctor Who, and then when it was released on DVD and Blu-ray, it was edited into basically one 45-minute animated episode of Doctor Who.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
But Totally Doctor Who isn't like a spin-off because it's a behind-the-scenes.
Yeah, it was kind of like a kids magazine show. What spin-offs are you least looking forward to experiencing? Keeping in mind that the K9 Australian TV series is peak television. It's better than Breaking Bad.
I mean, I've said before that I cannot make it through a single season of Torchwood, and I do not know what's going to happen when I have to watch Torchwood.
I think your head is going to split open like a volcano.
Also, I should point out, Torchwood is what the UK call a fleshlight.
It's a really good joke. I like it a lot.
You will hear it many times whenever Torchwood comes up.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of it, but if I had to pick, I feel like a lot of the 90s straight to video
stuff is rough. It's rough to watch. Like
Probe and stuff like that, which is in there. Yeah,
not in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
# not my Doctor Who. Here's the thing. Actually, this is a true story. Mandy, do you remember that our friend John bought a copy of that Zygon softcore porn movie?
Yes.
And then he watched it, and weirdly,
then we never got it.
Never gave it to us.
It was supposed to be a wedding present, and he never gave it to us.
He's held on to that DVD.
I have not watched that either. That is not in Stitches in Time because it doesn't. My criterion for it is
the Criterion Collection for
the Criterion
Collection release of
Becca's
Zygon.
opinion on this.
It has to just what I'm deciding is canon or not, because I don't know, anything, I could consider the Wizard of Oz canon if I wanted to. I could just decide, but I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is, starting with Doctor Who, and then anyone who's played a character on Doctor Who, if that actor plays the same character in another thing, that's the 12th Doctor appears in Class, so Class is canon, or Sarah Jane appears in Sarah Jane Adventures of John Barrowman.
So those two straight to DVD sequels to The Demons are canon because they have the witch character in them.
Yep.
Then there's a Syl spin-off as well, right? Syl from Vengeance on Varys gets a
Syl and the Devil Seeds of Eridor. Yeah.
But
you just had
Zygon
that off the cuff. You just knew the name of that, Becca.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of shame. Podcast listeners, there's a certain amount of shame creeping across Becca's face right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think whenever I discuss this project or just am on this podcast, I think I have a base level of shame always present. It is, like, funny that I've done this, but also, like, I know. And when I tell people that I've done this, you don't need to tell me, right? You don't need to tell me how weird it is. I know. You don't need to tell me how ashamed I should be. I already know. Believe me.
I really came in thinking that this clip was not, this is an important clip. I'm going to struggle to get through this. This clip has really, just let me truly understand my co-host, my leader, my Matrix Archivist in a way of, I did not understand the depths of depravity that you had to go through to get this possible. You have gone through it. You have journeyed into hell and back to bring this to the people.
It's true.
And now they have to understand. You have worked so hard to send out the truth and make people know that the BBC edit is wrong and this is the correct edit.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I am very proud that I am here to journey with you through this. That I'm here to help spread the gospel.
Yes. And I am so glad that you are here with me too, because it has been a lonely road for the last 12 years.
But you did it.
I did it.
Walked that lonely road, the only road that you've ever known. You don't know where it goes, but it's only you and you walk alone. But now Mandy's here, so you can't sing that song anymore. Also, you'd get DMCA'd if you tried.
I fell in the pit.
There we go. Anyway, big rocks fly through space vagina.
Yeah.
And Becca put it all together for you. You listening, you people enjoying this.
Yeah.
You gotta go tell Becca how good job she did. Go tell Becca what a good job she did. Do it.
I'm so lonely. But yeah, I'm pretty, I don't know if I'm proud of this project, but I'm proud that I did this project because it means that I stuck to something finally in my life. Dad. Ben, where can people
your dad
find
should
you?
be proud, or I'm gonna beat the shit out of your dad.
My dad actually is very proud of me for loads of other reasons that don't have anything to do with this, because he doesn't.
Your dad should also be proud of you for this. I'm gonna bully
really
your dad into being proud of you.
Okay.
The next time you hear from your dad, he better say, "Becca, I'm so proud that you made Stitches in time, or I'm gonna give him a knuckle sandwich."
Nice.
I'm sorry for threatening your dad. I feel like
It kind of does slightly undercut the threat level a little bit. Anyway, where can I be found? I'm on most socials media as Ben Paddon, except for TikTok, where I'm a Ben Paddon. Listen to the Game of Rassilon in your podcasting apparatus. Listen to Good Chaotic in your podcasting app. Listen to Jump Leads in your podcasting app. And listen to the voices of reason when they tell you that you should vote for someone who doesn't want to see the people that you love be annihilated. That's my statement.
And if you're a dad, Becca's or otherwise, you better be proud of your daughter, or I'm coming for you.
And if you're a dad, Becca's or otherwise, you better be proud of Becca specifically.
You better be proud of Becca, your daughter, Becca, who's me, who, you better adopt me and...
Adopt Becca and go to your current daughter and be like, why can't you be like Becca?
Ben, do you have any concept of
time? No.
Time. Do you know when you're aiming to release Jump Lead Season 2? Do you have a
I am aiming yet? It's still in production. I'm aiming to start the season before the end of 2024. I would like the first episode to drop before the end of December.
Amazing.
Fingers crossed. But the first 6 episodes from season 1 dropped last year. Those episodes can be listened to right now. It is top quality sci-fi comedy audio drama adventure for free.
It's top quality sci-fi audio adventure for free.
Yeah.
I did it in a genuine way.
It's good.
Because
I promise
believe in
it's
it.
good.
It is really good.
Ben's making a silly joke and making it sound bad, but it's very good.
No, I'm very proud. I'm proud of the first season. I'm proud of how the second season is shaping up. The season 2 finale is one of the best things I've ever written. Mandy helped break the story. And I have to. The reason I'm writing the other episodes for season 2 is so we can get to that last episode.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It is so good.
Yeah, it's a good script.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Ben's very talented, and Becca's very talented.
Mandy's very
also
talented.
very talented.
Becca, why don't you ever promote your other projects on this? Granted, it might be, I don't know if you have anything, like, our time sensitivities on things, where it's like...
Yeah, I mean, this episode's going to come out the day before Halloween, and it is well before the day before Halloween right now as we're recording.
Which you
Okay, well then Halloween questions, what's your hot costume going to be? What's your sexy outfit going to be?
I'm just going to do, I'll do a sexy Tom Baker.
I'm going to be a sexy Premiere Pro editing timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be Becca.
Aww.
Who was invented
stilts.
Halloween.
Mandy and I should just be each other for Halloween. That'd be great.
That'd be great.
But how will I know which one of you to bring home?
Which one of us to shoot?
Kill us both, Ben. It's the only way.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we will be back next time with Space and Time.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't we? We normally have space and time. Like, is this the first episode where we have space and time? I thought we had space and time the whole time.
No, these are 2 DVD extras. One is called Space and one of them is called Time. Or maybe they're comic relief specials. I don't really remember. It's written down somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to stop recording. Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca the Matrix Archivist. Art by Mandy Akendo. Logo by Ben Paddon. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky at Who Stitched. All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stitches in Time podcast with me, your host, Wild Ben Paddon. Joining me are 2 very special guests. No, let's not do that.
Oh my god. You know what oh my god, I wish I'd done this now. We could still go back and do this because I was like, oh, if they could just replace the voice of K9, maybe Ben could just read the intro for that episode. But I would never make you do that because of your deep
beliefs.
Hatred for the spiders. Yeah. Hatriotism. All right, here we go.
I love patriotism.
Did you say you love patriotism? You fucking commie?
Just as a word? That's how
it's maybe the best word I've ever said.
Describe my every 4th of July for me. It's just patriotism.
Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, 1 clip at a time. I looked at Ben, and that was a terrible idea.
Do you say my wife's funny looking?
Okay, I'll be good this time. Will you? Are you
Probably
ever?
Not. I'll find another way to fuck it up.
I'm just going to close my eyes. Welcome to... No, I can't read what I wrote.
What's the name of the show again? Fuck.
It's the smallest of infractions.
I hate Ben's mom, and I'm going to fuck with her forever.
That was probably Robbie. Actually, Robbie probably did that. I should ask Robbie. Our friend Robbie, who I actually went to high school and college with in the UK and now lives in Portland.
Oh, bragging.
was the assistant editor on Doctor Who Series 9, Capaldi's second season. And I don't think he was involved in class, but maybe he has some insights, question mark?
So he knows who your mom could yell at, if nothing else.
You can cut this bit out, but Robbie, when you do eventually get to Heaven Sent, any bit of it, because there's so much of it,
Yeah.
Robbie might be someone to talk to.
Amazing. I would love to get him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make that connection.
I really like that you have the audacity to say something like, this is all going to get cut, when we're talking about a clip that is 19 seconds long and just a bunch of rocks flying through space.
I would also like to point out, I don't just have the Audacity, I'm using Dark Audacity, which is like a night mode build of Audacity, so to record the audio today.
Audacity After Dark.
It just whispers
Audacity.
fuck at random times.
Fuck. Really difficult to record a family-friendly podcast with.
Thankfully, this is not one of those.
Fuck.
I have a horrible creature that is attacking the window behind me. So 1 second while I get him off so that I can have clean audio.
I think it's fucked
Get
up
him
that
off.
Mandy has to make our cat orgasm in order to get him to behave.
I mean, he's doing this because he wants to fuck.
But he doesn't know what that is anymore. Cats are weird.
Cats are weird.
Cats are
We didn't take away his balls in time, and so now he still knows what fucking is.
He has the
Aw.
drive.
He's got the drive, but not the dream. Sorry, that was.
I want a .horse email address. I want pizza.horse and horse.pizza.
Well, now that you've said that on a podcast, you should probably grab those right now.
I have to imagine those are taken. Those are billion-dollar websites now.
Okay, I'm searching for pizza.horse. It's already registered.
Yeah.
Domain.com suggests as a great alternative, toppizzaoutlet.com.
I'm going to visit pizza.horse. Nope, there's no website up there.
I'm checking out now horse.pizza. Horse.pizza is already registered. A great alternative is horsefarmdelivery.com.
Oh, wow. I went to horse.pizza, and it's a GoDaddy thing that says, the domain name horse.pizza is for sale. Buy it now for $811.
How much is in the Patreon?
Let me just check. Negative $811. Wait.
Shit. Hang on. Did you do that Chase money glitch, but for $811?
If I believed such a thing as the Chase money glitch were like an actual money glitch
And not just check fraud? Yeah.
I'd like to think that I'd set my sights a little higher than $811.
$850.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's where the money is.
Perfect.
Or isn't, because it's check fraud.
Check fraud. It's the kind of thing you go to prison for. Hey, these rocks are a
space.
prison. I don't know.
Hi, I'm Ribbit the Check Frog. Don't do check fraud.